Welcome back to Panda Audiobooks. You are listening to Pursuit of the Truth by a Gen, Episode 8, covering chapters 22, 23, and 24. Su Ming's journey takes him to breathtaking new spiritual heights. This segment is dominated by major cultivation advancement and direct confrontations with the high-level forces that once controlled his destiny. The secrets of the world are beginning to unravel, and Su Ming is forced to confront the harsh reality of the cosmic conspiracy. His power is immense, but the enemies are legion. Prepare for breakthroughs and epic showdowns. Chapter 22. Are we going to change? Su Ming was immersed in his thoughts until noon. He gritted his teeth, slung a basket over his back and left the tribe. Lei Chen went with him. Lei Chen had gone to the square before. He went there just a few days ago, in fact. Once he heard that Su Ming wanted to borrow some stone coins, he immediately pestered him for the reason. Once he learned of the reason, he immediately perked up and offered to act as Su Ming's guide. Su Ming, those two were the only stone coins I had. I went through a lot of trouble to get them. When are you going to give them back to me? Lei Chen stared anxiously at Su Ming as they sped through the forest outside the tribe. You've been nagging me for the entire journey. It's just 2 stone coins. I've been giving you dark dragon saliva for so many years. How much do you think they're worth? Lei Chen, aren't we best friends? How could you be like this? Su Ming felt slightly guilty, but he still glared at Lei Chen, causing Lei Chen to mumble under his breath. I really went through a lot of trouble to get them. Lei Chen scratched his head. As he mumbled, he seemed to remember something and looked at Su Ming oddly. Say, I just remembered. What are you going to buy at the square with the stone coins? I'm buying cloud gauze grass. Su Ming ran through the forest lively, showing signs of overtaking Lei Chen with his speed. What is cloud gauze grass? Lei Chen asked honestly. However, when he found that Su Ming had already overtaken him, he immediately took a few wide leaps to catch up. Su Ming, you have to remember to return them to me. Su Ming, it took me a lot of years to save up those coins. Su Ming, not even my father knows about them. How did you know where I hid them the moment you came to my house? Su Ming, what is cloud gauze grass? Why won't you tell me? Su Ming, I've been asking you the entire day. Su Ming's ears rang with Lei Chen's voice throughout the entire journey. He knew for a long time that Lei Chen liked to talk. Once he started, there was no stopping him, but he did not expect him to keep talking for the entire journey. When dusk arrived, they had already traveled some distance away from the tribe settlement. Within the unfamiliar forest, Su Ming's stamina finally ran dry and he began to slow down until he reached a huge tree. He leaned against it to catch his breath. Then he turned and looked at Lei Chen as if he wanted nothing to do with him. Lei Chen was also panting heavily while he sat down on the ground. Su Ming, you have to give it back to me. Lei Chen was panting heavily, but when he saw Su Ming looking back at him, he immediately straightened up and repeated himself. I'll return it. I'll definitely return it, but you have to promise me something. Su Ming laughed wryly. He already did not know what to say for Lei Chen to shut up. What is it? Lei Chen blinked his eyes. His expression was that of a simple-minded person. Don't look at me like that. Even Xiao Hong looks more convincing than you. Lei Chen, I know what you want to ask, but I can't tell you. You'll know later. Su Ming glared at him. He grew up with this person, and it would not be an exaggeration to say that he understood Lei Chen more than his parents. Lei Chen appeared to be an honest and simple-minded person, but he was actually pretty sensitive. A lot of people were fooled by the honest look on his face and tended to ignore the slyness in his eyes. After he heard Su Ming, Lei Chen touched his nose and laughed boyishly. My request is simple. If you don't make a sound during the trip, once I finish my business and we come back, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Then Su Ming gave Lei Chen a long, hard look. Lei Chen froze as if his entire body was petrified. He did not move, but his eyes were wide open as he stared at Su Ming. Lei Chen. Su Ming laughed wryly. He played together with his friend growing up. He was not going to be fooled by his little trick. You were the one who told me to be quiet. I wanted to nod my head, but if I did, then there'd be rustling sounds. I'm just fulfilling my end of the promise. I'm not even moving, and I'm not making any sound. It completely suits your idea of silence. Aren't I being quiet enough? You're asking me to be quiet, right? Don't worry. I'll be like this during the entire journey. I won't make any sound. But if I make any sound when I run, you can't blame me. Stop. Enough. Just keep quiet. Su Ming pinched the bridge of his nose. He saw a hint of playfulness in Lei Chen's eyes, and he knew his friend was doing it on purpose. Fine, I'll tell you. I have a berserker body, but it's hidden by the elder's berserker art. Don't tell anyone about this. As he spoke, Su Ming's face became deadly grave. Lei Chen was stunned, but he soon nodded solemnly. If I knew, I wouldn't have asked. I just wanted to know whether you've become a berserker practitioner. Now, I'm no longer worried. Ha ha, from now on, we'll become the future guardians of Dark Mountain Tribe. Su Ming laughed as well. They took a moment to replenish their strength and continued on their way. The sky gradually darkened, the moon rose in the sky and the stars shone. The snow on the ground became thicker, too, and the winter wind blew against their faces. Still, they continued their journey without stopping. They even talked to each other on the way, creating an amiable atmosphere. I saw Bei Ling today. I feel so frustrated when I see him, especially when he has Chen Xin by his side. He knows that Chen Xin likes you. Lei Chen grumbled angrily. He's changed so much. He just went to Windstream Tribe for a few years. Has he already forgotten that he's from of Dark Mountain Tribe? You didn't see his face that time. He even nagged me about all sorts of things. Su Ming was silent. Su Ming, I'll definitely surpass him. Lei Chen clenched his fists as he ran. His Bei Ling, our older brother. He took care of us when we were younger. Don't you recall him teaching you all he knew about training in the ways of the berserkers last time? He was even punished by the elder for that. He even taught me how to use the bow. Su Ming spoke calmly. As for Chen Xin, I already told you ages ago. I only see her as a sister, nothing else. Why are you still thinking about all these weird things? Su Ming's voice was still calm. Lei Chen wanted to continue speaking, but he saw how calm Su Ming was, so he swallowed all his words back. He understood Su Ming just as much as Su Ming understood him. He knew that Su Ming was a grateful man. Su Ming, people change. Lei Chen spoke softly after a long while. As we grow up, as we experience more things, we will change. Perhaps one day, I will change, and I think, you will as well. Lei Chen muttered. Will I? As Su Ming ran, he fell silent. When the sky became dark completely, Su Ming and Lei Chen stopped. Traveling at night was exceptionally troublesome. Besides, there was still some distance left before they reached the square. As such, they set up camp under a big tree for the night. They took shifts so that one of them could sit down to train while the other kept watch. Su Ming leaned against the tree and his gaze fell upon Lei Chen, who sat down with his legs crossed. His body began glowing red and he could see a lot of red lines emerging from his body. After watching Lei Chen for some time, Su Ming looked at the dark sky. The moon shone brightly and it looked beautiful as it hung in the sky with a curtain of stars. Yet, it made people feel small and insignificant when they lifted their heads and looked up. People change. Will I change too? Su Ming gazed quietly as he recalled all the times he spent together with Bei Ling when he was still a child. If I do change someday, how will I change? Uncertainty appeared in Su Ming's eyes. This was too complicated a question for a 16-year-old teenager. Perhaps I'll be like the elder and become a really strong berserk healer. I'll bring Xiao Hong on a journey around the world. We'll go to places we have never been. We'll go to all the tribes in the world and cure lots of the members of the Berserker tribe. Perhaps, I'll even become an elder. Then I'll find a girl I like and live with her. She'll go on a journey with me until we grow old together. Xiao Hong will become Old Hong by then. I'll talk about all of my experiences with the last Sus in the tribe, just like how the elder spoke to us about his life. Su Ming smiled. It was a pure, honest, and happy smile. Or perhaps, I'll get to know my parents. Su Ming sighed as he smiled. Lei Chen, I won't change. Su Ming took a deep breath and spoke firmly under the moonlight on the vast plains belonging to the Berserker tribe. He did so even though he was the only one who could hear it. He was certain of his words, just like any young man who still believed in a bright future. Night went by. When dawn arrived, Su Ming and Lei Chen woke up as light gradually lit up the sky. They washed their faces with the snow. The cold snow made them shiver and wide awake. If we travel according to our original route, we'll reach the square by noon. Lei Chen had already gone to the square a few times. He rubbed away the snow on his face as he spoke to Su Ming. Su Ming nodded. After they washed up, they continued running in the forest as they welcomed the first rays of sunlight. Their journey went on without problems. When noon arrived, Su Ming saw a lot of houses made of grass and wood at the edge of the forest. There were also a lot of noises coming from the tribal settlement. Some berserkers from the tribe were also patrolling the vicinity. We're here. Lei Chen looked towards Su Ming, particularly at the woven basket on his back. However, the basket was covered firmly with hides. He could not tell what was in there. Su Ming looked at the tribe square before him. It was big. Its size was comparable to the size of a small tribe, but there were no fences around it. There were only several strong-looking men patrolling the area in full alertness. They maintained the peace in the area and prevented wild beasts from attacking. At the center of the square was a gigantic purple tent made of beast skins. The security was extremely tight and no one was allowed near it. That house belongs to the owner of the square. I heard that he's a really strong berserker. He will only appear to welcome tribe leaders from other tribes. Lei Chen spoke to Su Ming softly as they moved out of the forest towards the square. Su Ming only cast a glance at the purple tent before looking away. He stepped into the unfamiliar place under the guard's scrutinizing eyes. At that moment, a girl's voice called out to them coldly. Lei Chen. Su Ming paused in the middle of his footsteps and discovered that Lei Chen immediately shuddered when he heard the voice. Chapter 23. Like an initial meeting. Su Ming could clearly sense that Lei Chen was not acting normally right then. It was as if he was afraid and could do nothing about it. Su Ming looked towards the direction of the voice subtly. Su Ming was stunned. The person who spoke was a girl. She wore a small shirt made of mink fur, and she seemed to be slightly taller than the frail-looking Su Ming. Her tall stature and her shirt managed to show off the curves of her body. Her skin was not rough like her fellow members of the Berserker tribe, but fair. She possessed a sort of beauty that would make others attracted to her. Her black hair was held together by a red string made of grass. There were 2 little braids by her ears and the rest of her hair was left flowing behind her head. It swayed along with the wind as it blew, adding to her beauty. Her eyes were like puddles of clear water and there was a cold fierceness within her eyes. There were beads of shiny droplets on her forehead, which became even more brilliant as they reflected the snow on the ground. Her 2 white canines could be vaguely seen as the girl exhaled, and they added a sort of wildness to the girl. She was not a normal girl. She was just like Su Ming, a berserker. However, the strength of qi she released gave Su Ming the impression that she was only at the 3rd level of the blood solidification realm. She was not alone. There were 3 other men from the Berserker tribe behind her. They were built like little hills. Their gazes were cold as they stared at Su Ming and Lei Chen. The strength of their qi was only slightly weaker than Bei Ling's. There seemed to be markings painted on the 3 big men. As Su Ming looked at them subtly, he noticed that the markings looked like scorpions. Lei Chen, how dare you? The girl gritted her teeth as she glared at Lei Chen. Lei Chen touched his nose and the usual honest, simple-minded look settled once more on his face as he laughed in a silly manner. I was tricked by that dumb look of yours the last time and I got a stupid, dyed herb, which you sold to me for 3 stone coins. The girl marched towards Lei Chen, her face red with anger. You can't blame me for that. I didn't know what herb it was, so I just placed it at a random place. You were the one who wanted to buy it. Lei Chen mumbled as though he was wronged. Give me the stone coins. The girl glared at Lei Chen. Su Ming was also hated on because he was standing beside Lei Chen, but he looked weak and fragile, so she ignored him once she took a glance at him. But Lei Chen smiled wryly. He was about to speak, but the girl immediately glared at him coldly. The three men behind her also looked at him with a fierce glare. He swallowed his words and could only complain about the situation in his head. Lei Chen, is she the one from Dark Dragon Tribe whom you and the elder spoke of? Su Ming spoke slowly, his face void of expression. The moment his words left his mouth, Lei Chen was stunned for a moment but quickly reacted. He knew that Su Ming had always been calm. If he said something, it meant that he would help. Besides, he knew Su Ming. The moment he heard Su Ming speaking so oddly, he immediately understood his intentions and stood behind Su Ming. He treated Su Ming as if he was his leader. Yes, young lord. That is the girl I spoke of. Lei Chen's gaze was respectful as he spoke with his head bowed. Lei Chen's actions and words immediately caused the girl to shift her gaze to Su Ming. She was surprised. The title of young lord was usually given to the future elders of the tribe. She looked at Su Ming closely, but no matter what, he only gave off the feeling of a normal Berserker tribe member. Hence, her countenance became fierce as she spoke in a coldly. I don't care whether you're the young lord. Return my stone coins. Fine. I'll give you the stone coins. But I came with Lei Chen here today to find you. Lei Chen was calm as he took out 3 stone coins from his bosom with his right hand. Give me the herb you bought from Lei Chen. Su Ming looked at the girl and spoke slowly. The girl was stunned. She did not expect to get her stone coins back so easily. She grew suspicious as her gaze fell upon Su Ming and Lei Chen. What herb is that? After a moment of hesitation, she did not reach out for the stone coins, instead she chose to question. That is. Lei Chen was about to speak when a stern voice cut him off. Quiet. Su Ming glared at Lei Chen. It made Lei Chen shudder and lower his head respectfully. When she saw his compliance, the girl blinked in confusion. She hesitated briefly and took out a purple herb. The herb looked normal. The only difference was that it was completely purple, which made it look terrifying. Pub Future ads. When she brought out the herb, she immediately handed it to Su Ming, but she kept her eyes fixed on his face. When she saw Su Ming's eyes light up and how he lifted his hand as if he could not wait to grab onto the herb, the girl laughed and retracted her hand. What are you doing? This is my herb. I bought it. Are you trying to snatch my herb? The girl wrinkled her nose and clicked her tongue. Girl, do you still want the stone coins? Su Ming was surprised, but he quickly frowned. Why wouldn't I want it? But I just thought about something. If you can show me proof that you are Dark Mountain Tribe's young lord, then I'll return the herb to you. The girl's eyes were cunning. Her slyness only made her wild presence stronger. Even Su Ming felt his heart race, but he kept his expressions as bland as possible. Su Ming was quiet as he looked at the girl. He took a deep breath. He raised his left hand, and the sudden presence of qi belonging to a second-level berserker of the blood solidification realm spread from his right hand. Is this enough proof? The sudden change instantly made the girl narrow her eyes. Even the 3 men behind her became serious. It was not hard to understand why they were suddenly wary. Su Ming was until a moment ago just a normal person. There was not even a hint of qi from him. The sudden difference caught them all off guard. Young master, a strong berserker must have cast an art on him. That is why the presence of his qi is hidden. The berserker is also much more powerful than us, or else it would not have been impossible for us to detect it. That's right. I've been watching for a long time and I didn't detect anything. The only person who can do this is the elder of Dark Mountain Tribe. The 3 men standing behind the girl whispered softly into her ear. The girl lowered her head and looked at the purple herb in her hands. She hesitated. It had been some time since she bought the herb. She even spent a lot of time persuading Lei Chen to give her the herb. She had thought it was an unknown item and wanted to ask her elder. However, on the second day, she found that the purple tinge had spread to her hands. It was obvious that it was dyed. The discovery made her angry. Deeply offended, she brought the herb to the square to try and find Lei Chen again. Just as she hesitated, Su Ming spoke in a frustrated manner. "I've already shown you proof. Are you breaking your promise? These are the 3 stone coins. Whatever, I'll give you 5 stone coins." Su Ming gritted his teeth and took out another 2 stone coins, passing all of them to the girl. 5 stone coins for the herb. The girl blinked. He managed to identify that she was from Dark Dragon tribe immediately, so it was clear that Lei Chen told him about it. Besides, he also mentioned the elder of Dark Mountain tribe. Then it's true. This is a rare item. The girl showed a pleased expression and shook her head. So what? So what if I break my promise? This is mine. If you want to get it back, give me 30 stone coins. When she saw the bitter look on Su Ming's face and the dismal look on Lei Chen's face, she became even more proud of herself. She turned around, snorted and quickly left the place. The 3 men quickly followed her and left the square. When the 4 of them went away, the dismal look on Lei Chen's face disappeared almost instantly. He smiled boyishly at Su Ming and touched his nose. "Su Ming, how did you know she was from Dark Dragon tribe? So you had 3 stone coins? There's still 1 more, right? Give it." Su Ming looked at Lei Chen and put away the stone coins as he spoke slowly. "No way. I bought something with that stone coin last time. I still have something to do. Let's leave it for now. We'll split up for now. I'll wait for you here later at night. We'll go back to the tribe then." Lei Chen felt his eye twitch and immediately spoke up. He did not even wait for Su Ming to reply. He ran away quickly and disappeared into the bustling square. As he watched Lei Chen escape, Su Ming shook his head. If he was not too poor, he would not have revealed that he had qi. The elder's Berserker art was extremely powerful. If Su Ming refused to reveal it, no one would have been able to see it. However, if he did not do it, not only did Lei Chen have to return the stone coins to the girl, Su Ming himself would have needed to give up his stone coins too. Looks like I'll really have to do this. Su Ming scratched his head and headed towards the square, troubled. The square bustled with activity. Within the tents were plenty of people trading with each other, and there were some who had spread hides on the snow. There, they placed various herbs as well as items for trade as they sat on the ground waiting for someone to buy their wares. Pub Future ads. It was Su Ming's first time there. Everything was new to him. As he walked through the square, he saw a lot of items he had never seen before. Among them were bones from beasts and all sorts of weird herbs. There were even a couple of refined medicinal potions being sold. They even sell Dark Dragon's saliva here. 1 bottle is worth 1 stone coin. Su Ming faltered in his footsteps when he saw that Dark Dragon's saliva was sold as an item. It was on one of the hides on the ground beside him. He blinked in surprise. "I've been drinking Dark Dragon's saliva since I was young. Just how many stone coins was that worth?" Xiao Hong also drank a lot of it. Su Ming was just about to leave, mumbling when he caught the glimpse of something on one of the hides not far away. "That is." Su Ming took a deep breath and went towards it. He cast a glance at the owner of the stall. He was an old man in his 50s. He wore a loose hide shirt and sat still with his legs crossed atop the snow. Chapter 24. Now, it's dead. When he felt someone coming towards him, the old man opened his eyes and looked at Su Ming. There was a hint of shock in his eyes, but after he looked at him carefully, he closed his eyes again. Su Ming eyed a blue object placed on the hide. The object was shaped like a plate. The edges were sharp, but there were a few cracks on it. There was even a deep cut like the object had been pierced through. It laid quietly on the mat but would let out a faint glow occasionally. Anyone who saw it would have thought that it was alive. The cracks seemed to form a drawing. It was the drawing of a terrifying face, and it was frightening to look at. "This is an incomplete Berserker vessel. You won't be able to afford it." As Su Ming was looking at it, he heard an old and wizened voice. Su Ming lifted his head and looked at the old man, who spoke. Berserker vessel. Su Ming sucked in a breath. He had suspected it. He had read about it before in the beast skin scrolls. Berserker vessels were extremely rare items. Only the powerful berserkers in the Transcendence realm could obtain and make one. As for the people in the blood solidification realm, it was difficult for them to obtain it. Even if they had one, it was usually an inheritance within the tribe. There also had to be people in the tribe who were capable of guarding the vessel from being taken away by berserkers in the Transcendence realm. This vessel is already broken. You can't use it. But since it was made by a berserker in the Transcendence realm, it'll be for 1,000 stone coins. The old man spoke slowly. As Su Ming stared at the blue plate, his gaze was filled with longing and envy. He only had 5 coins with him, so he could not afford it. He sighed. Su Ming looked at the blue plate again and left reluctantly. I wonder when I'll ever own my very own berserker vessel. Su Ming thought as he wandered through the square. There were a lot of people who opened up shop by selling items on hides. However, even after Su Ming went around the place, he did not see anyone else selling berserker vessels. He did, however, find some cloud gauze grass being sold. Just that, it was sold by different people. The price for one was rather expensive. Just one alone was sold at the price of 1 stone coin, which was the same price as dark dragon saliva. It was beginning to grow dark. The sun was setting in the sky and the light cast a red glow on land. Yet, there were even more people gathered at the square and it continued to bustle with activity. As he looked at the sky, Su Ming decided to continue walking around. He even went into one of the tents. The tent was also a shop. The price for each item was expensive, but at least the quality of each could be guaranteed. There were quite a lot of people going in and out of the tents. As Su Ming watched, he saw some members of the Berserker tribe who were the same as him. They were also carrying baskets on their backs as they went into the tents to sell the contents within to the tent owners. When Su Ming saw this, he smiled. He had been observing since noon and he saw a lot of things. After he pieced up all the details he obtained, he understood most of the rules there. As the sky darkened almost completely and torches were lit around the square, Su Ming went to a corner where the light did not shine. He looked at his surroundings carefully before quickly putting down his basket. He wrapped the hides on the basket around his body and put on all the other hides he had prepared in the basket. Finally, he brought out a black beast skin that looked like a robe and wore it, covering up his whole body. Su Ming's face could no longer be seen. From the size of his body, he looked swollen. He looked completely different from his frail self. He shook his limbs slightly, then he wrapped the beast skins even tighter around himself. Su Ming took a look at the basket. There was still one more thing in the basket. It was something he prepared specifically for this trip. It was heavy, but it had its uses. He swung the basket over his back and lowered his head. He stopped after taking a few steps forward. Then he hunched his back. He then quickly walked towards a tent he had chosen a while ago. The light in the tent was dark. Since noon, the people who went into this tent were mostly like Su Ming. They hid their faces so that no one could recognize them. It may have been Su Ming's first time at the square, but he had been observing the proceedings since noon. As such, he had already understood most of the rules of the square. He did not immediately enter the tent he chose. Instead, he paced about outside the tent for a while as he looked at the tent occasionally. Before long, a person dressed in a similar fashion as Su Ming came out from the tent and left the square in a hurry. Su Ming had seen a lot of people like this since noon. He was somewhat certain that once he left, no one would chase after him. He opened the flap and went into the then empty tent quickly without any hesitation. Once he entered the tent, he felt a gaze fall upon him. The person looking at him was a middle-aged man. He was half nude and sitting cross-legged. There was a bonfire before him. As it lit up the tent, it crackled as it burned. One of the man's eyes was empty, but the other gave off a sharp glint. He was watching Su Ming closely without a word. The fire is quite dazzling. Since Su Ming was covered up by hides, he was not worried about the man seeing his face. He also spoke slowly with a hoarse voice, and it was completely different compared to his normal one. The one-eyed man looked at Su Ming for a while before looking away. He felt no qi from Su Ming, and he did not look any different from the rest who came. He may not have felt qi from Su Ming, but one who could enter the tent and seem so familiar with the rules could not have been just any person. He raised his right hand and pressed it on the bonfire. The bonfire immediately grew dimmer. The light from the bonfire became darker as well. "Take it out. If it's good stuff, I'll give you a fair price." The man put out his right hand and spoke slowly. Su Ming scrutinized the man behind the hides that hid his face. Then all of a sudden, he laughed. His laughter was also hoarse as it echoed in the tent. It made the man frown. Just as he frowned, Su Ming raised his right hand. Immediately, a round object was thrown at the man as a medicinal scent spread in the air. The man caught it in his hands. When he saw it, his right eye shone brilliantly as he took in a sharp breath. "How much does this thing cost?" Su Ming spoke hoarsely. "What is this? Where did you get it? What are the effects of this thing?" The man stared at the object in his hand for a while before looking at Su Ming seriously. A flash of curiosity appeared in his eyes. "When I was on the way to the square, I saw this beast." Su Ming did not answer his question but chose to talk about something else. As he spoke, he put down the basket and grabbed something inside with his right hand. Immediately, the basket shook and Su Ming took out a mink raccoon that was tied up before placing it on the floor. The mink raccoon looked listless, but there was a fierce glare within its eyes. There were wounds on its body that had not healed. It also could not escape as it was tied up. The man was stunned. It was clear that he did not know what Su Ming meant. His gaze fell on the mink raccoon for a while, but he quickly looked away. It was just a normal beast. There was nothing about it that required his attention. "I just caught it on a whim. Look, it's still alive." Su Ming's voice was slow and hoarse. Nonetheless, it sounded odd in the dim tent. "What are you saying?" The man frowned. "I'm saying that it's still alive. Do you know why I caught it? Because it was too curious. It had been following me for too long." Su Ming raised his left hand and caressed the beast. However, just as his hand swept through the wounds on the mink raccoon's body, it shivered. There were no cries, no screams. There was only a brief shudder before the mink raccoon's body turned into red mist as if its blood was burned. As the man looked at the scene dumbfounded, the mink raccoon's entire body disappeared. Only a pile of red and black bones were left behind. "Now, it's dead." Su Ming touched the pile of bones with his left hand and the bones immediately turned into dust which scattered on the ground. The man took a sharp breath and retreated a few steps instinctively. There was shock and fear in his eye, which could not be concealed. After a moment, he once again turned towards Su Ming with fear and respect. "Fallen Berserker." Su Ming snorted. The man shivered and was about to explain himself when Su Ming waved his hand as though he was growing impatient. "Tell me how much that thing in your hands is worth." The effect of the item is simple. It will increase the effects of all the herbs you take while you train by 1-fold. As for the other question, you're too curious for your own good. Su Ming spoke slowly. The man's face grew pale. What he saw earlier shocked him. He did not even feel any qi circulating from the person's body. Nevertheless, the beast turned into red mist right before his eyes. "This thing." The man took a moment to think as he looked at the round medicinal object in his hand. "Sir, I've never seen this thing before in my life. This is..." The man spoke hesitantly. He never spoke this way to his normal customers, but due to the shock of what he just saw, he did not dare offend the person before him. "You can try it out right now. If there are no effects, I'll leave. But if you can feel the effects, we can negotiate the price." Su Ming spoke calmly and slowly as he sat down. The man breathed out a sigh of relief and agreed to Su Ming's terms respectfully. He took out a bell from his bosom and shook it lightly. Immediately, the ringing of the bell filled the tent. There was an indescribable look in Su Ming's eyes. He stole a glance at the bell and he tightened his left hand, which he kept hidden within the robe. There was still a bit of scattering blood powder left in his left hand. Chapters 22 through 24 conclude with Su Ming cementing his position as a true cultivator capable of standing against the established order. The knowledge he gains comes at a steep cost, confirming the tragic nature of his path. Thank you for listening to this electrifying segment of Pursuit of the Truth from Panda Audiobooks. How do you think Su Ming will utilize his newfound power? Share your predictions below. Join us next time for episode 9, covering chapters 25, 26, and 27, as the pursuit leads to unexpected revelations. Like, subscribe, and continue the epic saga.